Give these a little twirly twirl. Hey everybody, this is Matt with House of Vacuums in Lynchburg, Virginia, and today on the workbench we have a Hoover Tempo, aka the old non-self-propelled wind tunnel. So this was a old wind tunnel model that Hoover basically kept making under the Tempo name, which Tempo traditionally has been one of their more entry-level nameplates, and then they moved the wind tunnel vacuum up to actually what ended up being less quality machines under TTI, but they started naming their newer machines Wind Tunnel. So taking advantage of the brand, recognition that they had. So the story on this guy is that the owner wants the cord shortened. It's probably worn away as it heads down into the motor housing, which is fairly common on these. Let's check it out and see what's going on. It's actually interesting. So there must be another nick in the insulation here. Let's just go ahead and pull off the cord and we'll inspect it as we go. I do see something coming up here. It got run over. Fortunately, it looks like it got run over relatively close to the machine. So, yeah. So relatively close to the machine, they're going to lose about 2 feet of cord, but it will save them from paying $15.95 for a new cord. And you can see here where the copper is showing, so that is certainly a dangerous situation. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to just take this cord, the existing cord, going to go ahead and lop him off. All right, so this is the remaining cord. This is the good part. There's no other nicks or tears in it, so we're going to use this to rewire into the machine. And I'll show you a little trick on these. Because he didn't want any other work done on this, he only wanted the cord shortened. I'm not going to touch the rest of the machine. Sometimes, depending on the situation, sometimes you can get away with simply pulling out the leads from this little retainer right here and not having to actually intrude upon the motor to get these, to change these out. And because of the fact that this cord does not look original, this has been replaced before, I think there's a good chance there might be enough lead down there for me to mess around with. So sometimes getting a grip right here is the hard part. There we go. All right, so this is what we call a strain relief. That just holds the cord in place. And now we're going to go and check out what is going on down inside here. And we do see there is a wire nut. Everything is kind of jammed together. So at some point, the previous owner of this shop has replaced this cord for this gentleman. And the vac actually was probably bought here. The old owner sold quite a few of these Tempos while they were still making them. There we go. Look at that. So, little trick of the trade. Now, in this case, it's going to be really easy for me to change this out because, again, the wire nuts are right here, readily accessible. But as long as I don't have a lead fall down and into the motor compartment, I'm going to be able to just simply swap this out, put the strain relief back on, and reinsert the cord, and it's going to be super easy. Now, one thing that I am going to do when I put these leads back together on the new cord, I'm actually going to crimp them with a better connector. So our preference now at our shop is to use these little, let's see if it'll focus. It's pretty bright. Sorry about that. Is to use these little crimp connectors because they're more secure and they're safer than a wire nut. Wire nuts can get pulled off pretty easily. Once you crimp these in place, they're really not going anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and use those. Everything that I do on this channel is really, there are some things where I say that you can do this, and those are items that are recommended by the manufacturer that are owner serviceable. Things like the button cell on an Aura candle or a belt or changing your filters, that kind of thing. There are things that I do here on this channel that are really just for information and entertainment purposes. Electrical is, obviously somewhat dangerous. My disclaimer, as I put in the description every time, is that you shouldn't do this if you're not comfortable with it. Take it to a professional. This is for entertainment purposes only. So, if you take this as an instructional, then you do that at your own peril. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we'll get started here. Now, I just make a very small striation here, and it'll start to, as I bend it, it'll start to break through the insulation, because I want to break through this outer insulation, but I do not. I'll zoom in a little bit. But I do not want to break through the insulation on the wires underneath. So we just go very gently all the way around, just making little slices. Now this is how I do it. Other folks may have another way, better way. This has always seemed to work for me. Okay, there we go. It started breaking through all the way around except for right here. There we go. All right, so now that just pulls off. And now we want to take this insulation that it's wrapped around the two wires, and that just pulls off. So we've got this kind of like jute material that is wrapped around the wires. Sometimes this is synthetic, sometimes it's like a natural fiber. This is the natural fiber kind, and I'm going to go ahead and just snip those off. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our strippers, our wire strippers. We're just going to pull off some of this insulation. Okay. Super simple. And on this guy here, this is a really simple machine. It really probably wouldn't matter. I don't think there's any circuit boards in it. It probably wouldn't matter which color you went with, but black to white or white to black, but we'll go with the way that it was wired, because obviously factory's better. So what I like to do is I like to actually put the crimp fitting in my crimper first. That gives me a good handle on it while I hold onto this with my other hand, and I just slip this over. And with the size of those leads, I'm going to go one size up. All right, make sure everything is still together properly. Just give these a little twirly twirl, just so they stay together. Make sure there's no extraneous copper hanging down low. Now we're going to come in with this, just feed it in there, and yeah, that's going to grab all of the copper so that there's none exposed right here. You can't see any copper, and I can't pull it out. So now that is secure. That's not going anywhere. So they could yank on this cord all day long, and nobody is going to encounter a dangerous situation. There we go. Just slip him over, give him a crimp. All right, now he's all set. So now we just need to go back together with it. Relatively simple. We just feed these back in here. There's like a little area where all the cords are located. This is a strange machine, because typically where the cord enters into the machine, typically there's like an area where the cord loops around, and there's like a screw with a washer that drives through a post and like holds the cord captive. There's never been anything like that on these Hoovers. They really rely on the strain relief and the fact that you're supposed to run this cord up to the handle where the cord hook is. It's not probably the swiftest design ever in terms of safety, but obviously they kept making them like this for years, so they never got in trouble for it. So, but lest you think that I'm just not securing it inside the motor compartment, there's no place to secure it, which is why I'm able to do this repair without accessing the motor compartment, which is a time saver for sure. So we just want to give this a squeeze until it kind of like puts a crimp in the cord. We want the cord to kind of naturally want to go that way, and then we're just going to go ahead and push him in. And this will expand outwards, and the outward expansion will hold it in place, you know, more or less. So we're just going to run this up through its normal location. We'll zoom back out here. All right, so there is a spot right here for this to clip into. All right, so you can see what I'm talking about when they didn't really put any post in here to hold that captive. You know, reason being is because they kind of expect it to be run up through the proper channel. Now, whether or not that stays in place for everyone, that's a different story. But there's also, oops, forgot this piece. There's also this piece which kind of keeps it from moving around too much, even though it's not truly keeping the cord captive, but it's like this little, oh man, vinyl gloves. I don't like getting my hands dirty, but getting away. Double checking the cord again as I pull it back. Just want to make sure that we didn't miss any problem areas, since this has been run over before. So we'll plug him in here, throw him on the ground, give him a run. Sounds like a Hoover Tempo. So that's a quick and easy way to change the cord on a Hoover Tempo, or alternately in non-self-propelled wind tunnel. It just really depends on whether or not you can get those leads out. That's a quick and easy repair on a Tempo cord. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you found this helpful or you learned something new, go ahead and subscribe and give us a like. Really appreciate that. And of course, I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.